What's up guys, Greg here. Today's video is titled Things I Wish I Knew About My Tesla. Now more specifically, things I wish I knew before I bought my Tesla. Now this isn't a good or bad video, these are just things that nobody ever taught me along the way. If you're like me, you're probably doing a ton of research, you're watching YouTube videos about Tesla's features and stuff like that, but these are things that no one ever taught me before I purchased my Tesla. So let's get into it. One thing I want to talk about is that slower charging isn't necessarily cheaper charging. I was actually able to go to my electricity company's website and view what level 1 charging and what level 2 charging would cost me approximately per month. I was able to select how many miles I drive per day, my make and model of my car, and select my breaker output. Now at 12 amps, that's kind of your standard wall outlet. You're going to see that it's obviously going to take you a lot longer to charge your car, but it's actually going to cost a little bit more in the long run too, as if you were using a 60 amp breaker with 48 amp output. It's a little bit cheaper, and this is just something I wish somebody told me before I selected my at-home charging option. Check the description of this video for another video I made about EV charging that goes into a little bit more detail about this. The next thing I want to talk about really quick is range. Now, I'm somebody who does not drive that many miles a day, so range doesn't matter to me that much. But if you're putting a lot of miles in your car, range might be an issue for you. I feel like there's a lot of resources and videos of people out there complaining about the range of their Tesla. The EPA estimated range of my Model Y Performance is just over 300 miles, but I also know you're not supposed to charge to 100% all the time. So that range is actually significantly lower, but again, not a problem for me as somebody who doesn't drive that many miles every day. Tesla recommends that you keep your car's battery between 20 and 80%. I charge up to 80% every night, and my car does estimate that I'm going to get about 240 miles of range. How much range do I actually get? A lot less. Tesla recently rolled out a new feature in their Energy app. Your car now gives you details about your energy consumption. It will now show you exactly how much of your battery is being used for driving, air conditioning, and charging your phone and stuff like that. This is helpful in actually figuring out how much range you're going to get from your car. The one thing I have noticed that affects the battery percentage the most is if you drive fast. Going over 70 miles an hour significantly reduces your range. In my 2022 Model Y Performance, I've noticed that I get about 2.25 to 2.5 miles per percent charged, which means I'm going to get between 180 and 200 miles of range if I charge my car to 80% and drive it all the way down to 0%. This is something you're definitely going to want to consider if you drive more than 200 miles a day and want to stick to home-only charging. The next thing I want to talk about is insurance. Insurance on a Tesla is extremely expensive. Now, I'm 34 years old and I've never gotten a ticket and I've never been in an accident. So I kind of thought I was going to be the exception to this rule, but it turns out I'm not. Insurance is crazy expensive. I'm paying more than double that I was paying for my 2015 Honda CR-V. I noticed a lot of the quotes require driver tracking. Now, what this means is the insurance company's app is going to connect to your car in some way via your phone via Bluetooth, and it's going to analyze your driving. So if you speed a lot or a lot of accident detections occur, your insurance rate is actually going to go up. I personally fell down a rabbit hole of Reddit forums of people complaining that their insurance rates had skyrocketed for things that they weren't even doing. For instance, I have a very narrow garage, and when I pull into my garage, my car basically alerts me that I'm about to be in an accident. If I had live driver tracking turned on, that could mean that my insurance is going to go up every single time I pull into my garage. I also read some people who have raised curbs, which I also have, and every time I pull into my driveway, it thinks that I'm about to hit something because my curb is a little bit higher than the street. This is something to consider. I personally went with insurance that did not require live driver tracking. Check the description of this video for a longer video about insurance where I break down rates from different insurance companies and what I ended up going with. The next topic I want to talk about is your phone key. I loved the fact that I could get in and out of my car using my phone via Bluetooth, but I've had a few problems with this. For the first month of owning my car, I had to have the Tesla app open in the background of my phone to be able to get in and out of my car. I thought that this was normal, and if you do a little bit of research on the internet, you'll find that that internet community is pretty divided as to whether or not you need to keep that app open on your phone at all times. I found this particularly annoying because I'm somebody who closes out my apps after using them on my phone to save my phone's battery. After about 4 weeks of owning my car, I was suddenly able to get in and out of my car without the app being open on my phone. I thought this was really weird. There may have been some software update that I missed, or maybe even just like an app update. But again, I was able to suddenly get in the car and start the car without that app being open. One last thing worth noting is that if you do keep that app open on your phone and you accidentally open that app in your pocket, you could accidentally open your frunk or trunk, which could be a huge problem if you're like me who parks in a garage and you accidentally open your trunk. You're going to slam that trunk right into your garage door that's closed. Thankfully, this hasn't been a problem for me yet, but it is worth noting. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the performance versus long-range wheels. Now, I got the performance model, which came with upgraded 21-inch Uber turbine wheels. And even though they look awesome, one thing I started reading on the internet was that it was a much rougher ride than the standard 19-inch wheels that come on the long-range model. And I started getting really worried about this leading up to my delivery date. Thankfully, I had the opportunity of driving a long-range model and a performance model before ordering, and I'm going to tell you, I could not tell the difference between the quality of rides. My previous car was a 2015 Honda CR-V, and that had 17-inch rims, and I'm going to tell you, the Tesla is a way smoother ride than the CR-V. If you're like me and you're worried about the performance model being a rough ride, don't worry about this. It's definitely a smooth ride. And that about wraps up the things I wish I knew before I bought my Tesla. If you want to check out my videos where I go into a little bit more detail about all the subjects we talked about today, check out the description of this video for the links to those videos.